Prologue 6, The Laughing Gypsy. I'm just saying... No, you're not. This brought the minty green-coated unicorn mare up short. She paused in her walking to look over at her companion incredulously. What's that supposed to mean? The earth pony mare at her side sucked in a deep breath, and the unicorn winced. You're not just saying, you're walking too. Oh, and seeing, and breathing. Oh, you're also living, and thinking, I think. You're not secretly undead, are you, Lyra? The possibly undead unicorn in question, Lyra, just rolled her eyes. No, Pinky, I'm not undead. The bright pink-coated mare at her side blew out a heavy breath. Phew! Because boy oh boy, if you were undead, I'd have to splatter your evil undead brains all over the road, and that'd be sad for me because I've grown pretty fond of you over the last couple of years. Also, that'd be pretty gross for any other travellers coming this way. Lyra squinted at Pinky, searching the other mare's face for some sort of sign that she was joking. I never know if I can take you seriously or not. Pinkie Pie gave Lyra a wink. There are 3 things Pinkamena Diane Pie is serious about, my dear Lyra. Her art, making the crowd happy, and bashing out the brains of any undead monstrosities that are dumb enough to come to cross her path. Huh? How come this never came up before? Why the big hate for zombies and stuff? I mean, sure, no pony likes them, but you seem to, especially not like them. A brief flash of a frown crossed the normally ever-smiling mare's countenance. It was gone as quickly as it appeared, however. Well, I never suspected you might be undead before, of course. Lyra rolled her eyes, of course. Oh, know what else you're doing? Not helping me pull this really heavy wagon. Technically, since you're actively not helping, that's you doing something in a roundabout sort of way. Lyra's grimace grew stronger. Heaving a sigh, she stepped up next to the sturdier earth pony mare and fitted the second harness around her withers, lending her own strength to pulling their home and during a show, their stage. So you feel that way about all undead? Yupperoni! Casting a meaningful glance towards the wagon, she raised an eyebrow. Even... Pinky followed her gaze. What? She doesn't count, silly. Lyra wrinkled her nose in confusion. What? Why not? Because I said so is why not, of course. Now what were you saying earlier? Pinky turned a bright, toothy smile Lyra's way. Lyra blinked in surprise. She frowned. I have no idea. With a cheerful shrug, Pinky continued down the road, without a care in the world. Must not have been very important then. So, Lyra followed, sitting inside the wagon with the 3rd member of their travelling troupe. Vinyl was a pale white mare with an unruly blue mane streaked with bright electric zigzags. Brilliant crimson eyes seemed to reflect the light filtering through the window oddly in the darker corner of the large wagon she occupied. She pinkied me. Geez, Lyra again? You have to stop letting her distract you like that. Lyra's fellow unicorn winced as a shaft of bright sunlight penetrated the gloom of her corner, and she hastily tugged down the dark-tinted goggles she always wore over her eyes. Her fellow bardess didn't look up from tuning her lyre. If it's so important, Vinyl, you talk to her. Vinyl raised her hooves defensively. No way. Besides, she never listens to me. When I try to talk serious with her, she just laughs and says, "Oh, Vinyl," and ruffles my mane like I'm a filly. We've known each other since we were fillies, and I'm still just a playmate to her. You're the one who graduated from the big fancy magic school. She listens to what you have to say. Now Lyra looked up from her work. Will you at least be there with me to keep me falling under her spell? Vinyl rolled her eyes. Yeah, you big baby, I'll come outside. Lyra smiled brightly. Thanks, Vinyl. I know you get headaches. The other unicorn shrugged and slipped a green-dyed leather vest over his shoulders. It's fine, really. Pinky says if I keep at it, I'll adjust. She's right too, I think. It's a lot better than it was a few years ago, before I couldn't go out at all. Lyra offered a sympathetic smile. Well, if I didn't know, I'd never be able to tell. Neither can any pony else for that matter. Vinyl smiled back and took a deep breath, following Lyra out in the goggle-wearing unicorn's opinion, far too bright sunlight. The colourful canopied wagon was an especially bright eyesore for her sensitive eyes. The flashy colours of the Gypsy clan she and Pinky both hailed from were more of an insult to her sight than anything in the noontime sun. The pair found their quarry humming cheerfully as she spread a colourful blanket out along the side of the road where they'd parked their wagon. Pinkie Pie was in the middle of setting up an impromptu picnic. Pinky, I thought we weren't stopping until we reached Hoofington. Pinky looked up as her fellow clanmate approached. The pink mare was wearing her favourite silk headband, a billowing green skirt, and numerous jingling bangles around all four legs. Hey, you Vinyl, out and about in the sunshine, huh? Good for you. Yeah, you know me, I love working on my tan. Why did we stop, Pinky? Pinky's smile dimmed just the slightest bit. I was hungry and tired. I know I'm the only earth pony, but hauling you girls around all day can work up a sweat. So I thought I'd take a little break and we could all have some lunch. The pair of unicorns flinched at Pinky's words. Though she delivered with her trademark cheer, there was a very subtle undercurrent of irritation only a pony who had known her for a long time would pick up on. Vinyl smiled sheepishly. Sorry, Pinky, I'll do some pulling. It'll be good for me to be out in the sun a bit more anyway. Okie dokie Loki, thanks for the offer. I dug out the last of the good stuff from Trottingham, so let's dig in, girls. The unicorns settled on the blanket, Lyra eagerly working her way through some of the preserved fruits. Vinyl rubbed the back of her neck in embarrassment. Hey, Pinky. Sympathy welled up in Pinky's huge blue eyes. I have some of the special sauce on yours, Vinyl. Shame mingled with gratitude as the white-coated unicorn levitated the offered meal towards herself. Lyra managed to hide her revulsion at the coppery scent coming from the sauce. Thanks, Pinky. It's just been a bit, you know. I know, Vinyl. I keep track. Pinky said no more on the matter, and neither unicorn was interested in continuing that particular topic of conversation. Working their way through the food, Vinyl started shooting Lyra meaningful looks, jerking her head towards Pinkie Pie. Her fellow unicorn shuffled uncontrollably on the blanket. So, Pinky... Hey, have you girls heard anything about Hoofington? It's supposed to have the biggest pumpkin in the whole kingdom. We totally have to go see that, am I right? Lyra's jaw tightened. Pinky... Oh, and new taverns. I love new taverns. They always have something new to eat or drink or new songs to learn. Pinkie Pie! Pinky blinked at Lyra's sudden outburst. Yes, Lyra? Lyra stammered at having Pinky's sudden undivided attention. Well, Vinyl and I were talking. That's nice. I like it when my good friends get to be good friends with each other. Vinyl placed a supporting hoof on Lyra's back, and the bardess took a deep breath. We want you to stop charming money out of the audience. Pinky tilted her head in confusion. But being charming is a really big part of being a performer. Lyra shook her head. That's not the kind of charm I mean, Pinky, and you know it. Pinky looked from Lyra to Vinyl. You really feel the same? Vinyl shrugged. I mean... It was fine when we were first starting out. Celestia knows I did it too, and I have other ways of using charm magic, you know. But we've gotten really good with our music now, Pinky. Vinyl straightened her shoulders. No, we really want to try making a go of it with just our art, Pinky. We're better than needing charm magic to pay for our food. Now the curly-maned mare looked to Lara. You too? Lara shrugged a little. I've kinda always had a problem with it. But I'm not a, gypsy? Not that there's anything wrong with that, Lara very hastily put in. Just that you are, you have a reputation. Pinky lowered her eyes, thinking quietly. Both Vinyl and Lara held her breath as the leader of their troop contemplated. She snapped up, grinning ear to ear once more, so suddenly both unicorns recoiled in surprise. Okie dokie! No more charm magic. We'll just earn our money the old-fashioned way. Both unicorns broke into bright grins until Pinky continued. Picking pockets! A thoroughly miserable Pinkie Pie glared down at the surprisingly strong unicorn pulling her wagon. This is betraying everything our family taught us, Vinyl rolled her eyes, not bothering to comment. Lyra sat a little ways from Pinky in the wagon and cleared her throat softly. Pinky, we're really good. Our music really moves ponies. And they pay what we earn through our art. Don't you want to make an honest living? Pinky snorted heavily. But that's so boring. Lara shrugged. Maybe a little, but don't you love how it feels when the crowd watches you dance, the smiles on their faces that your performance brings to them? Pinky nodded vehemently. Of course I do. It might be my favouriteest thing in the whole world. But honest living? That's betraying everything our family taught us. Pinky, Vinyl called up from the front of the wagon. I was born into the clan. You were adopted when your folks gave you the boot. We had to steal because no pony would actually pay us willingly. Lyra being here gives us, credibility. I think at the very least we can just try it her way once. It might be nice to not be run out of town after ponies start to notice things going missing. Another snort was the pink mare's response. Fine, fine. We'll do it your way, Lyra. We'll be honest. The last word was spoken as if it held a potent toxin within itself, and the mare wanted to cut it out of her mouth as quickly as possible. Lyra grabbed her friend in a tight hug. Thank you, Pinky. You'll see. This will be great. We can start getting our names out there, become real performers. We are real performers, Lyra. Lyra wasn't listening to Pinky anymore. We'll start small, work the little royal towns, build our reputation up some, start going to bigger cities, and before you know it, she sighed, Canterlot. Pinky's ears perked. Canterlot? The minty-coated green mare nodded dreamily. Canterlot. Central hub for the entire world. Only the best and brightest are allowed to play there. Vinyl called out from up front again. Didn't you say you went to school in Canterlot? All at once the joy and excitement fled Lara's face. I don't want to talk about it. Regardless of her numerous faults, Pinkie Pie was not a pony to let a friend stay upset. Scooching closer, she sat flank to flank with Lara. Hey, cheer up. We'll do things your fancy bard school way, okay? If it goes good and we make as many bits as normal, we'll stick with it. Lyra smiled tentatively. Really? Pinky drew a hoof across her chest. Cross my heart, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye. Knowing that was the most sacred oath the gypsy bardess could make, Lyra smiled and gathered Pinky in a tight hug. Thank you, Pinkie Pie. Happy for her friend's abrupt shift in mood, Pinky returned the hug. Sure thing, Green Bean. A little shiver ran up the mare's spine. Oop, we're here. Lyra blinked. We are? Vinyl suddenly called out. Hey, we're here. Lyra shook her head. Pinky, how do you always know? The mysterious pink mare shot her friend an exaggerated wink. I'll tell you when you're older. Lyra sighed. I'm a year older than you, Pinkie Pie. Hoofington was a small, rural farming village on the northern edge of the ever-free forest. Produced some of the finest vegetables in all of Equestria. and was populated by simple down-to-earth ponies. Primarily a village of earth ponies, the only Pegasi were the local weather team. It was rare for the town to receive visitors, and certainly rare for the visitors to be quite as colourful as the trio of mares who rolled into town with their brightly painted wagon. Pinkie Pie trotted proudly ahead of the unicorn pair, presently hauling the wagon. "Hello, Hoothington! Come one, come all, ponies of all ages, fillies and gentle colts alike. Come and see Pinkamena Pie and her fundamentally fabulous fantastical friends as we put on the finest show you've ever seen." The mare was bellowing at the top of her lungs and drawing plenty of attention from the town's ponies who were already starting to gather around the wagon. Sunlight glinting off the bright golden hoops dangling from the pink mare's ears. The crowd broke into excited oohs and ahs as Pinkie nimbly performed a series of flips, springing backward from her forehooves to her hind hooves as the wagon swung open, revealing a large stage. The acrobatic mare landed on all fours with a solid clop atop the stage. "My name is Pinkamena Diane Pie, but Pinkie works just fine for my friends both old and new." She threw her forelegs out wide to indicate the crowd. "With me this very lovely afternoon is my very dear half-sister, Vinyl Scratch." At the announcement of her name, Vinyl stepped out from behind the curtain. Ribbons trailed from her mane, ruffling in the light breeze. A billowing skirt to match Pinkie's ruffled about her flanks as she bowed low, her crimson eyes hidden beneath the dark-tinted goggles. "And our very good friend, Lyra Heartstrings." Taking a deep breath, Lyra stepped out from behind the curtain next. A jewelled headband kept her mane from falling in her eyes as she dipped into a bow. A bright red leather vest stood out in stark contrast with her pale green coat. "Fillies and gentle colts, I truly hope you enjoy the show." Pinkie flipped back behind the curtains as Lyra retrieved a well-worn lute. The crowd looked interested as she held it not with her magic, as most unicorns would, but gripped it solidly in her hooves, beginning to strum slow, drawn-out notes from the instrument. Lyra's eyes were closed as she focused on her music, tuning out the rest of the world and hearing only the sounds produced by her instrument. Vinyl was swaying back and forth to the tune of Lyra's violin. A crimson aura of magic flickered to life around her horn as a small stringed instrument levitated to rest before her. Lifting a small pair of beaters, she began to rapidly tap out a rapid harmony in a pregio. The crowd was soon bopping their head in time with the rhythm, much to the performer's delight. Rapid hoof steps drew every pony's attention to the centre of the stage. A collective gasp rose from the crowd as Pinkie reappeared. Balanced perfectly up on her hind legs, she leapt out, skirt flaring as she twirled to the centre of the stage and began a rapid series of hoof taps in perfect time with the rhythm Vinyl was pounding out. The crowd was fully enraptured by the performing trio, so much so that no pony at all paid any heed to the tiny orange Pegasus filly slipping between the hooves of the dazed crowd. She moved with sure, swift precision, darting from patron to patron and keeping herself to a bit or two from each of their pouches. Her ear could occasionally flick towards the stage and the entrancing music, but she forced herself to pay attention to the task at hand. Darting from mark to mark, the nimble pickpocket helped herself to quite the little stash of coin. Her breath caught in her throat as a firm hoof clapped down on her back, slamming her flat into the dirt while she was in the midst of a quick snatch. Her hoof caught in the bout pouch. It was tugged firmly from its owner's waist, scattering coin all across the ground. The little filly looked up with wide eyes at a sternly glowering stallion, wearing a finely kept black suit and a slim-brimmed hat upon his head. "Filthy little thief! After all I and the temple have done for you, this is how you repay our kindness?" The stallion's bellowing rose above the music, causing the bards atop the stage to falter and the crowd to begin murmuring, at first in confusion and then in anger as they noticed the subject of the disturbance. "Scootaloo! Little thief! Good-for-nothing waste!" The stallion ground his hoof firmly between the filly's shoulder blades, drawing a gasp of pain from her. "Lady Celestia, show you mercy, you little criminal, because I have certainly run out of it." The filly Scootaloo cried out in pain. "You don't show us any mercy. You make us work until our hooves crack, you wicked old goat." Eyes blazing with fury, the stern priest reared back, preparing to smash his hoof down upon her with more force. A pink blur flashed through the crowd, catching his hoof just before it could strike home. "Hey now, that's no way to treat a filly, even a thieving one." The priest's eyes widened further in outrage as he tugged his hoof away. "Unhand me, you filthy gypsy. You and your unclean troop of whores are not welcome in our town." The fur was bristling on the back of Pinky's neck as the priest switched from beating a filly to insulting herself and her family. Sensing her unpredictable sister about to lose her temper, Vinyl hastily cantered to Pinky's side. "Come on, Pinky, he's not worth it. This isn't our business." Vinyl realised her mistake a split second too late. The priest's eyes boggled madly as he sucked in his breath. "Unclean demon spawn! This is no mare. It is a monster masquerading as a pony. Do not be fooled, my friends. It comes to spread its tainted plague to our good village." The crowd switched from focusing on the pickpocket to Vinyl Scratch. The unicorn backed toward the wagon slowly. "Hey now, watch those accusations, father." Lara could sense when a situation was going from bad to catastrophic. This was one of those times. She quickly stowed their instruments and folded the stage back into a proper wagon. Pinky watched silently as the priest advanced on Vinyl Scratch, his hoof firmly clasping a symbol of Lady Celestia. "Reveal your true nature, monster!" A flash of magic rolled through the crowd at his command, hitting Vinyl Scratch and rocking the mare back on her haunches. Her goggles flew from her head to land in the dirt near the front of the wagon. Dazedly, she blinked, her revealed bestial red eyes open, long fangs visible in her mouth. The crowd gasped in shock and fear before the stallions began to stand in front of their mares and advance menacingly on Vinyl. The panicking unicorn raised her hooves defensively. "I know it looks bad, but I'm not a monster. I don't feed on other ponies, I swear." "Lies! Do not listen to the beast. It will spew all manner of mistruths to protect itself. Strike it down, my brothers. We must not suffer it to continue darkening the bright lady's world." The ravaging preacher was whipping his flock into a bloodthirsty mob. Some grabbed improvised weapons. One let fly a heavy stone, sending the projectile unerringly towards the revealed vampiric mare. For the second time a pink blur flashed through the crowd as Pinky vaulted over their heads, taking the rock against her flanks that was meant for her sister's head. She landed gracefully on her hooves, facing the crowd sternly. "If you want us to leave, we'll leave, but every pony better calm down before some pony gets hurt. The Gypsy protects her pet monster. Strike her down as well." Pinky glanced at Vinyl from the corner of her eye. "You and Lyra get out of here. I'll take care of this." Vinyl hesitated only a moment before nodding and racing to Lyra's side, levitating her goggles back into place over her eyes. She and her fellow unicorn broke into a rapid gallop for the road out of town. A number of the ponies in the mob began to give chase. Pinky watched with an impassive eye as the crazed ponies broke into a run after her friend and sister. Really, she considered both of them her sisters. She just hadn't told Lyra that yet. Maybe when they got a chance to rest after this. She crossed her eyes and took a deep breath. The crowd, at first ready to bash her head in, paused in confusion at her odd behaviour. The sinful mare accepts her fate. Deliver her to Tartarus where she belongs. The holy stallion's words spurred them onward once more. Pinky breathed in slowly, taking a deep breath and letting it out in a long exhale. As she breathed out her mane and tail, she seemed to lose all her buoyancy and lay flat against the side of her face. Her eyes snapped open, the joy-filled blue orbs hard and focused. Faster than the average eye could follow, she flipped forward onto a forehoof and spun. Her hind legs splayed wide, and hooves clipping the muzzles of the closest ponies in one smooth movement. Springing forward, she landed on her hind legs and delivered a rapid series of jabs to the largest stallion in the bunch. The huge pony blinked dumbly for a second before toppling heavily onto his side. Pinky was already moving as he fell, weaving smoothly in and out of the clumsy attacks by the townsponies. Hind and fore hooves struck out at all angles, smashing muzzles, crushing bone, and toppling a pony every time she struck out. The mob was starting to give her a wide berth, allowing her a clearer view of the one pony she sought out. Sprinting forward, she kicked off the ground, going into a spinning leap, somersaulting over the heads of the mob to land before the preacher. The formerly bellowing stallion recoiled in shock at her sudden appearance. Pinky drew her hoof back, mystical energy swirling around it. "You should have let us finish our song." "How are we looking, Lara?" The unicorn in the wagon peered out the back, wincing as Vinyl's wild galloping caused it to hit a large bump, jostling her inside and causing her to bang her head against the roof. "We lost them." Vinyl slowed to a canter, taking deep breaths as she did. "I'm going to feel this in the morning." Lyra hopped down from the wagon, coming around to her friend's side. "You okay?" Vinyl scowled, throwing the harness off herself. "No, I'm not okay. I can't believe how stupid I was. Pinky could be hurt back there. We just left her." Lyra tried to smile comfortingly. "Between the three of us, she can definitely take care of herself the best." The other mare grimaced, running her tongue over her teeth. "Damn fangs still won't go back in." "Hold on." Lyra retrieved her lyre and began to pluck a few rapid notes. Golden notes of magic swirled about her instrument, flowing over Vinyl and dispelling the priest's magic. The white unicorn sighed in relief as her fangs retracted. "Thanks, Lyra. You're pretty awesome, you know that?" Lyra smiled thinly. "I know." She looked back at the way they came. "She's never going to let us perform without the charms again, is she?" Vinyl leaned against her friend's side in a gesture of comfort. "I don't know. I mean, this was a pretty big disaster. Bigger than Trottingham for sure. If they were thralled, they wouldn't have noticed the filly, and Pinky wouldn't have stuck her nose in." Lyra grunted in annoyance. Ugh, you're right. She's right. We can't be legitimate performers. What was I thinking?" "You weren't thinking, silly. You were dreaming, and that's never a bad thing." The two unicorns whipped their heads around at the sound of Pinky's voice, their troop leader trotting out of the trees casually. "Pinky!" Both rushed to her side. "You're okay. I was so worried." Vinyl threw her forelegs around her adopted sister in a tight hug. Pinky's eyes boggled at Vinyl's unnatural strength. "Too tight. Can't breathe." "Oh." Vinyl stepped back quickly, a few relieved tears leaking from her eyes. Sorry, I was worried." Lyra smirked. "I wasn't." Pinky flashed a smile of her own, her mane and tail back to their normal full-bodied poof. "Well, come on, girls. The four of us should get a little more space between us and the town." Lyra and Vinyl exchanged equally confused look. "Four of us?" As if on cue, a dirty-coated orange Pegasus filly peeked out of the bushes, waving nervously. Hi." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "Pinkie Pie, there's a filly following you." "Yup." Vinyl and Lyra shared another look, this one of concern. Pinky, why is this filly following you? Pinky rolled her eyes. Well, she's coming with us, of course. We couldn't just stay there after all. That mob probably would have gone looking for her once we were long gone, you know. Vinyl nodded slowly. Yeah, I guess so. We can take her to the next town, I suppose. Pinky snorted. What? Why do that? We have plenty of room. We'll give her some training, see if she can learn to play something. It'll be great. Besides, we already know she has some other talents, if our whole legit thing doesn't work out. Now Lyra looked, if at all possible, more surprised. What? You mean you're willing to give it another chance? Shrugging cheerfully, Piggy trotted out to the front of the wagon. Sure thing. Can't let one little setback ruin your big idea. This is your dream after all, right? Lyra sniffed loudly. Mob attacks and sudden filly appearances forgotten. Right. So, girls, this is Scootaloo. The filly waved a hoof timidly. Hello. Pinky smiled warmly. Scootaloo, this is my sister Vinyl and our friend Lyra. Scootaloo looked between the two unicorns quietly. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Scootaloo. You're a very polite young filly. Lyra smiled kindly. Yeah, good to meet you, kid. Pinky, I'm gonna go get some shut-eye, if that's okay. I did a lot of galloping back there. Sure thing, Vinyl. Why don't you show Scoots here around the inside a little bit? Find her a corner to call her own. Pinky called back as she fitted the harness over herself. Vinyl nodded toward the back door of the wagon. Come on, kid. Scootaloo followed her inside, staring rather pointedly at her mouth. Are you, Vinyl sighed. A vampire? No, I'm half. My mum was bitten when she was carrying me. When I turned 13, I, changed more than most fillies do when they become mares, if you get me. You don't have to be scared of me. I don't eat ponies or anything creepy like that. The filly gulped. Do you drink blood? Vinyl cleared her throat uncomfortably. Well, this is home. Just hammocks in here mostly. This one's me, Pinky is above me, and Lyra's over there. We can string a new one up for you. Not too big a deal. None of us snore, so that's a bonus. So, this is your home? Vinyl shrugged, be it ever so humble. I know it ain't much, but yeah, this is home. She was surprised to find the filly's eyes brimming with tears. And I get to live here now? Vinyl's expression softened into a smile. Yeah, kid, I guess this is your home too. She stiffened uncomfortably as the filly threw herself into her forelegs, embracing her tightly. Gradually she returned the gesture, patting her back. Okay, kid, welcome home. Pinky, you know she's not a puppy, right? She's going to need a lot of care. What kind of life is this for a filly? Pinky frowned at Lyra's question. A great one. Me and Vinyl lived like this, and look at us. Lyra's eyebrow quirked upwards. A borderline lunatic and her half-vampire, half-sister. What could be more a picture of a healthy environment? Exactly! Lyra sighed in exasperation. Okay, fine. We'll worry about the filly later. For now, what are we going to do about money? You might have missed this, but we didn't get a single bit in town. I saw your performance back there. It was quite moving. A new voice spoke from the trees off the road. Pinky and Lyra jumped in alarm and whirled towards the sound. A white-coated unicorn mare trotted toward them, smiling pleasantly, her bright pink mane and tail the equal of Pinky's coat. Oh dear, I didn't frighten you, did I? Pinky narrowed her eyes, examining the newcomer. A little. She was never surprised by any pony. I'm so sorry. Please accept my apologies. As quickly as the frown formed, a smile replaced it. It's all right. Always happy to meet a fan. Lyra seemed less apt to trust than her friend. Can we help you with something? The mare nodded. I certainly hope so. I was hoping you'd be available for hire. Both Mare's ears perked at that, Lyra's eyes shining with hope. We are, absolutely. Wonderful. The Mare smiled wider. I'm throwing something of a party in a town a few days from here. It's called Ponyville, and we're having our yearly summer sun celebration. I'm something of a recruiter, you could say. Pinky seemed content to let Lyra take the lead on the conversation. Have you hired many acts? The Mare shook her head. Not too many, just a few important players I really want in town for the festival. The festival lasts the weekend, and you'd need to remain in town for the duration. At least one performance every 3 hours or so. Does 2,000 bits sound fair? Pinky let out a low whistle. You must really love performers. The Mare's smile was a touch mischievous now. Miss Pie, for this performance I want only the best. Pinkie Pie, chaotic neutral. Monk 3, Bard 5, Strength 14, Dexterity 18, Constitution 14, Intelligence 10. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on a second. A 10? A 10 intelligence? Well, I mean, you're not exactly known for your deep thinking, Pinky. And what exactly is that supposed to mean? Well, I just, May I direct your attention to Griffin the Brush-Off, in which I, Pinkamena Diane Pie, debuted the homemade hoof-propelled flying machine I designed and created with my own hooves. Huh? I forgot about that. You did make that, didn't you? You betcha! So let's see that int score bump up a little higher, huh? Alright. Intelligence 14. We're getting there, but come on now. I did blueprints, all kinds of crazy complicated math. This was a pretty hefty engineering project here. Intelligence 16? How's that? Now we're talking. So what about wisdom? Dump stat! It's pretty important for a monk, right? I got booted for being a pretty crappy monk, remember? Good point. Wisdom, 19. Charisma, 19. Ooh, I like that, 19. How are you going to handle my pinky sense? Ignoring it, it's too hard to write. Hack! Special abilities. Flurry of blows, unarmed strike, evasion, still mind, bardic music, bardic knowledge, counter song, fascinate, inspire courage +1, inspire competence. Favoured spells, dancing lights, no direction, hypnotism, sleep, invisibility. Vinyl scratch, chaotic good. Bard 2, fighter 2. Ouch! That's the racial level penalty. Yes, now hush, this is super distracting. My lips are zipped. Strength 15. Dexterity 22. Sweet Celestia, a 22! That's bigger than anything Twilight's Power Gamer Sparkle has. Well, half vampires get a +6 to their dex scores. Is it too late to write Mama Pie getting bit by a vampire into my backstory? Yes, Pinky, now be quiet. Constitution 16. Intelligence 12. Wisdom 10. Charisma 18. Special abilities. Natural AC +3. Damage reduction 5 unless silver or magic. Dark vision. Fast healing. +4 on saves versus necrotic effects. Immunity to poison, disease, sleep and paralysis. Spider climb at will. Charm gaze attack. Lyra heartstrings. Neutral good. Bard 7. Strength 10. Dexterity 16. Constitution 10. Intelligence 17. Wisdom 12. Charisma 18. Favoured spells. Dancing lights. Read magic. Alarm. Cure light wounds. Blur. Silence. Dispel magic. Author's note. And here we had the last of the prologues. Chapter 1 coming soon to a website near you.